It's not easy to figure out what the Bible says about heaven either. Remember, people in Bible times believed in a simple world. God lived above the dome of the sky, above the waters of the sky, in heaven. God lived here with other heavenly beings. In the original Hebrew language of the Old Testament, the word for heaven is always plural, not because the Jews believed there was more than one heaven, but because it was a vast place with many features. Heaven is the place of the stars, sun, and moon, the birds, the throne of God, and a kind of royal court which included angels and other kinds of beings. Still, heaven in the Old Testament was not a place where you ended up after death. Remember, when people died, they went to Sheol. But over time, the Jewish people began to hope that they would not be permanently separated from God. Between the time of the Old and New Testament, the hope began to grow into a belief in resurrection. Maybe there was a chance that we wouldn't spend eternity in the underworld. The Pharisees came to believe in the idea of resurrection. They taught that people would be raised up from their graves to face God in judgment, and then receive either punishment or reward. This is the same thing that Jesus and the early church preached, but with a twist. The judgment will happen when Jesus comes back a second time, and the history of the world comes to an end. At that time, those who are still alive on earth will go straight to the judgment. All those who have already died will rise from their graves, take on new spiritual bodies, and go stand before the judgment throne. What were they doing until then? It's not clear. Maybe they were just taking a long nap. Of course, according to the book of Revelation, God wipes away the old heaven and the old earth and creates a new heaven, a new earth. So heaven will be remodeled before we get there. Regardless, the reward that is to be given to those who are righteous is the reward of living eternally in the presence of God. Since God resides in heaven, the righteous will also reside in heaven. The righteous will be present with Him forever. And that's not such a bad end.